Well, hello everybody. I'm Del Shores.
And I'm Emerson Collins, and you're watching The Del and Emerson Show.
Straight talk.
Real gay. Happy Friday, Del Shores.
Yes, happy Friday to you. Oh,
how is everybody? Hello, gather round.
Gather around. Y'all come in. Let's talk. Let's just tell some stories and do a virtual hug.
Okay, calm down. Virtual hug. Just
sing Kumbaya. Can we sing Kumbaya at the end of the show?
You know, if I never sang that song again in the whole rest of my life, that'd be enough. Between church and vacation Bible schools and Boy Scout camps, and we really did sing that song.
Did y'all ever sing, "It only takes a spark to get a fire going"? Well, I ran out of breath. It was Ralph Carmichael. He was a Baylor grad that wrote that song. Well, I wonder if anybody, old Baptist folks around my age, remembers that song. Pass it on. You want to pass it on.
No, we sang songs like I am a C, I am a CH, I am a CHRISTIAN, just little church songs.
Oh, I'm a Christian.
Well, how's everybody? What we do is the LGBTQ news and nonsense here. Please share the broadcast with your friends. Say hi, tell us how you are. I wanted to show you, because there's drag race news. Look at my merch.
Yes.
Y'all, my Tamisha Iman merch came in the mail. I have to tell you, it's so camp. It's kind of bad and also wonderful because it is.
I love it.
Look at her.
That's great. That's great. Well,
because did you see there is drag race news? They're doing like an international drag race Eurovision type contest that's going to be singing drag queens. Maybe there's not a lot of specifics about it yet, but it's going to come out.
A singing competition. So I'm in. I'm there.
It's going to be on Paramount Plus. Which that's what CBS All Access is becoming. And Drag Race All Stars 6 is only going to stream on Paramount Plus, and people are upset because you got to pay extra.
Oh.
But they just finished shooting Drag Race Down Under. They just announced the host for Drag Race España. We are going to get so much Drag Race, and I can't wait.
Who is it? Who's the host in España? Who is it? Hilaria Baldwin? No, I'm kidding.
I think she's going to host the after show. The Drag Race España after show with Hilaria Baldwin.
That was good. That was quick, Del.
That was real good. But yes, Tamisha Iman also made sneakers, but I just decided that wasn't practical for my life.
So. I know. Well, I love Latrice Royale because she sent me t-shirts. I actually wore one to hike today.
Oh, please tell everybody what happened on your hike.
I got lost. Emerson and I were supposed to, it's easy to get lost, y'all. In my defense, it's easy to get lost. Shut up.
I get a text at 11, like right before 11, we're supposed to work and write and do things. I'm so sorry. I went on my hike and I got lost.
So I was doing this rambling. If you don't watch my ramblings on Instagram, you should, and you should go like me and follow me right now. But I was doing this one. I passed because I know I'm past Del Dickey's house, which is close to me. And then I go, I'm just going to go up this hill because I know this hill winds down right to where I need to drop off at the Hollywood Bowl right by my house. It did not. That hill did not drop. It wound right back to Del Dickey's house. I was where I started. And I'm like, oh shit, I'm going to be so late to write with Emerson. You had to look at me unkempt.
Well, that's the way I look all the time. Y'all, I should take pictures of the way that I look to meet with Del Shores. I'm not kidding when I tell you that I only shave and like brush my hair to do this show. That's 80% of the reason we keep doing the show is because it makes me clean myself up.
Good. Do you brush your teeth daily though? Do you ever miss that?
Of course. Wait, Matt said, Del, a video of you finding a commode under a highway came across my newsfeed this afternoon.
Yes.
He loved it.
And I love that you just used the word commode because that's what my mother always called it, the commode.
Flush the commode.
Flush the commode. Go clean the commode.
Toilet was a dirtier word.
No, we say toilet, but toilet was like, outdoors for the people like of my mom's generation. The toilet,
like a hole in a bucket, like
an outdoor toilet,
outhouse?
an outdoor toilet. Yeah.
Toilet meant outhouse, like right there, poop in that bucket, and we'll use it to fertilize the fields.
My mother, she was she had risen above all that.
Rose above. Brent said, get her a compass. I know. There's a compass on your cell phone.
You know what I did? Okay, so here's what I do. I sometimes make myself get lost just to see if I can get back without using my cell phone. But today I really did. I had it all planned out. And of course, I don't know about, do you have a good sense of direction?
No, I think everywhere I want to go is to the left. In the words of Beyonce, to the left, everywhere I want to go is in a box to the left.
I had to memorize, east and west here by the no, that's north and south, the 405. See how bad I am. But someone told me early on, the ocean is west and the mountains are east in Los Angeles. That's my dad would, you could drop him anywhere in the world and he'd go, there's west, there's a.
Blake likes like my directions. If I've seen a map, it's perfect because I can see the map in my head and I know exactly what to do. But if you're just going somewhere, I might pull left. I'd be one of those people lost in the forest walking in a giant circle to the left because people that are dominant tend to veer one direction. But it doesn't matter. I think we parked that way. We should go that way. Blake says often describes that he met me just wandering lost in a Walmart parking lot because my sense of direction is so bad.
Well, we have that in common.
As funny as he does.
So, did you give us our rundown? Did I miss it?
Oh, I thought I'd do it right now. We have a great show today. We're going to do the Equality Act. We did new drag race, transphobia from the House to the Senate and beyond, Lindsey Graham, vaccine fat shaming, that vegan teacher, Secretary Mayor Pete's airport proposal, potato head nonsense, and more.
There you go. That's a good rundown.
Danielle said I had to learn directions when I got my pilot's license. It was kind of important for that. Yeah, I'd be the one in the clouds off to the left.
I heard you can't really learn it. I heard it's in you or it's not. It's just in you or it's not. That sounds
Southern. You either have an innate sense of direction or not. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I don't.
Rick said, after my evening pre-roll fatty, I'm lost in all directions.
Yes, I'm sure.
Get a little high and wander around. You're never lost.
Just wandering around your own mind, which is just like a real bad neighborhood.
Kelly said, Dale, Caroline gets that from you.
Oh, you know what? I have to say something before we get into everything. I get to see Caroline Shores tonight. I'm so excited. My daughter is driving as we speak from San Francisco. She's vaccinated. I get to hug her for the first time in over a year. So I'm very excited.
Yay! All right, well, in the news, we're going to start off with the Equality Act because, yay, it passed the House 224 to 206 with 3 Republicans joining. Now, y'all, we have been through this before. This is yay, but the House has passed it before. During the debate, though, Ralph Norman of South Carolina got up and asked this. My request is to allow a 30-second moment of silence for the passing of Rush Limbaugh, one of the greatest radio hosts ever, and make that as a formal request during the debate on the LGBTQ Equality Act. Tell everybody what you did this morning.
Well, this morning I did an interview with the student newspaper in Rush Limbaugh's hometown, Cape Girardeau, Missouri. And the first question she asked me, I felt kind of bad for her. She said, could you just give me a few words that in your mind describe Rush Limbaugh? And they had gotten me, they had seen me on Twitter, because I have that picture of me flipping off Rush Limbaugh Boulevard in their hometown. So they thought this would be a good article. And so I said, bigoted asshole. And she goes, oh. She's like, oh, we were on Zoom.
They say, yep, you could have said that there in the House. But now it moves on to the Senate, and we will need some Republicans at this point, right, to reach the 60-vote threshold that is required, or we will have to end the filibuster to start to pass the legislation Biden and Harris and this new administration has promised. It's concerning because some people that have supported it before, senators, are not. Susan Collins has refused to co-sponsor it this time, even though she did in the past. And it's a little petty, but I get it, because HRC endorsed her opponent that I donated money to in this past election. So it is a real issue of what we're going to do in the Senate, and being honest about what it is going to take to get this passed.
Well, she bailed on us with the Kavanaugh hearings, and that's why everybody turned on her. But she
loves to be concerned and then go ahead and act like a regular Republican anyway.
I think I've said this before on the show, but she, to me, truly is the Bernice from Designing Women of the Senate.
Yes, she is, and you have. That's accurate. And then, so while this is happening over in the House, Marjorie Taylor Greene, as we have talked about, has become the face of bigotry in the House. And I think a lot of other Republicans are letting her stand up front and say the terrible things so they can nod along behind her. On Wednesday, she tried to stop the debate on the bill. She tried to adjourn for the day, just be like, we're done working. Then she tweeted, yes, I wanted to give Congress time to rethink destroying women's rights and women's sports and religious freedom before voting for the Equality Act. Well, her neighbor across the hall in the congressional offices is Marie Newman out of Illinois. And Marie shared a video and tweeted, our neighbor, Marjorie Taylor Greene, tried to block the Equality Act because she believes prohibiting discrimination against trans Americans is disgusting, immoral, and evil. But we put our transgender flag out so she can look at it every time she opens the door. Now, what's important to know about this as well as they do this, hold on, I have this photo so that you can see their offices. See, there's Marie Norman. Marie Norman's daughter is trans, so this issue is for her constituents, but also directly for her family. Marjorie couldn't be outdone. She put up her own video and said, our neighbor Representative Marie Norman wants to pass the so-called Equality Act to destroy women's rights and religious freedoms. We'd put up ours so she can look at it every time she opens the door, with this sign that says there are two genders, male and female, trust the science. So petty, trashy, and stupid, Marjorie Taylor Greene.
And a little bit hypocritical, since she doesn't trust the science on anything else.
Right. Like this one thing. Also, your science is still wrong. So this quack science that you're trusting.
So, all right. And then in some other, I guess it could be trans and bigotry news, we had the confirmation hearing of Dr. Rachel Levine, who's to be the assistant secretary at the Department of Health and Human Resources, and Rand Paul, who I think is the most, he's becoming the most disgusting senator. He went on a transphobic rant. He compared
over Ted Cruz. You think Rand is
this week? I think Rand Paul. I do. I mean, this was just awful to me. I watched it. He compared gender confirmation surgery to female genital mutilation, then attacked Levine on gender transition procedures for minors. After Rand Paul said she supported the surgical destruction of minors' genitalia, he then asked her, he said, Dr. Levine, do you believe that minors are capable of making such a life-changing decision as changing one's sex? And she responded, transgender medicine is a very complex and nuanced field with robust research and standards of care that have been developed. If I am fortunate enough to be confirmed as the Assistant Secretary of Health, I will look forward to working with you and your office and coming to your office and discussing the particulars of the standards of care for transgender medicine. Translation, let me educate you, motherfucker. He also quoted the American College of Pediatrics, which sounds good, but wait, you have to realize it's a small, ultra-conservative organization that the Southern Poverty Law Center considers anti-LGBTQ hate group. So it was just so vile, just so and unnecessary.
And at every angle, right? Because talking about female genital mutilation, he mentioned the World Health Organization. And what that is talking about is places where female genitalia is literally removed in non-medical situations. That is something that has been fought by the World Health Organization around the world, and translating that to having anything to do with trans healthcare, which is the decision that a trans person makes with their doctor. Bottom surgery isn't recommended by any healthcare professional under the age of 18. So that's a lie there. puberty blockers are prescribed specifically to give teens and prepubescent people with gender dysphoria the opportunity to wait to make the decision. And then it can be reversed once they stop. So at every point of this, he was fear-mongering, flat out lying, and making
ignorant.
What?
Ignorant.
Well, I don't think it's ignorance. I think it's on purpose.
Yeah, but it's just disgusting. So anyway, and you're right. There are a lot of awful senators, but this week,
I mean, it's a race to the bottom. Ted Cruz at CPAC literally yesterday or today making jokes about being in Cancun. Meanwhile, there were people in Texas who his constituents died during the weather that he ran away from. I mean, It is a race to the bottom of that barrel. And then no minors are given GCS or hormones. They are given reversible puberty blockers, the same blockers that cis minors are given for precocious puberty when puberty starts too early. So, it's to that what we're talking about. The fear mongering on this, using trans people and the lack of information so many people and voters have on trans issues and trans healthcare to torpedo the Equality Act. We're going to see that keep happening as we move to the Senate discussion. Wait, this lands right. Where's Rand Paul's neighbor when we need him?
I know. Leanne, and I love you. Thank you for your messages. I haven't answered you on Facebook and Instagram, but I cannot. I do not want to ever perpetuate violence, but oh my God, I've been so tempted to say something on Twitter like saying, well, I sure understand where that neighbor's coming from, but I just can't because I know I'll just get slapped.
You're like, well, I would put it this way. I am not happy or sad that it happened.
Okay. I'm indifferent.
I am whelmed.
But after watching him, I can understand the urge to slap his curly head.
Yeah. Also, his whole thing is being a libertarian, and it's such bullshit. The whole point of that is leave people alone, leave the government out of people's lives. You are responsible for the good and bad that happens to yourself. And these are individuals and people making healthcare decisions with their doctors. Leave them the fuck alone.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it continues in some positive things. Merrick Garland, you remember him? President Biden's attorney general nominee, and that should have been Supreme Court justice, had his confirmation hearings this week and definitely spoke in a way that should be positive for the Department of Justice's plan on trans issues. Cory Booker asked him about the epidemic of violent attacks on trans people, particularly women of color, and the need to protect trans children. Garland agreed, saying, it's clear to me that this kind of hateful activity has to stop. And yes, we need to put resources into it. These are hate crimes, and it's the job of the Justice Department to stop this. That is active support and allyship from the department. And at the same time, the Biden administration, DOJ, did withdraw a statement of support that William Barr submitted on behalf of the Trump administration, supporting a case in Connecticut where the parents of 3 cis girls filed suit against several school districts and a state regulatory agency to ban trans girls from competition. So the Biden administration is pushing actively forward in support of trans people, not just neutral. The Connecticut Attorney General, William Tong, praised this action, saying, transgender girls are girls, and every woman and girl deserves protection against discrimination, period. And it really is that simple. But it's great to see the administration being active, like to undo the danger of the last, to demonstrate they will be proactive on this issue, because we're going to need it in the coming weeks and months.
This next story, I'm just going to read straight, and
You're gonna read it straight?
Yeah, really straight. This is straight talk. Lindsey Graham went to Arizona and shot an awkward and angry video at the border with Mexico at a section that had not yet been completed of Trump's border wall. He did a string of, just angry, just hissy fit tweets about it. And at the Biden administration, just upset at the Biden administration because they had stopped construction on this particular part of the wall. But the problem is that he couldn't stop talking about the whole in awkward ways. And at the end, he declared, nothing around here makes any sense unless you plug this hole. Plug this hole.
And without comment, here is a portion of that video, just so you can understand.
There's Sugar Britches. Sugar Britches Graham.
Oh, of course, now she wants to be ornery.
She says, I'm just not going to buffer. I'm not. I refuse to buffer. Yeah.
Buffer, I just met her.
I refuse. They are talking about my hole. I mean, they're talking about plugging this hole.
I'm going to try one more time because, y'all, it's too good. Because I have said I have tried so hard to not use lazy stereotypes about Lindsay. You know, it's not necessary. We've talked about it. But, oh, here we go. You hear him?
The Biden administration
apparently
decided to stop plugging this hole here.
Stop plugging this hole here.
As a result, the Border Patrol now is trying to have a camera, people sitting up on that hill to watch them as they flow in. Wouldn't it make sense just to put this section of the wall together? What good comes from allowing this hole to continue to exist?
We don't want
this wall is here for a purpose.
This hole is here for a purpose.
From coming in our country legally, and you got a hole in the wall.
Hole in the wall.
And I'm going to make sure the Department of Homeland Security tells me why they're going to stop finishing this part of the wall. It makes no sense. Everything else around here no longer makes any sense.
Here we go.
Unless you plug this hole.
Unless you plug this hole. Now, I feel like I'm back in 4th grade when I first learned that the word friction meant two objects rubbing together, and we went around for a week being like, ooh, friction. But like, sorry, you can't talk about a hole that much. So, as Ken said, that's going to take a pretty big plug.
Well, he needs to order those that you were talking about a couple of weeks ago on the show.
Say, look, maybe you could get a whole bunch of plugs for that hole, all shapes and sizes. Anyway, it was juvenile, and I just needed to share it with everybody because, sir,
I think that there should be a group that just, with Lindsay just leading it, plug this hole, plug this hole.
And look, that's not even homosexual. There are plenty of straight men that like their hole plugged, so it can certainly be about pegging.
All right, then.
I guess. All right, this next thing, I wanted to chat about this because I saw this occur on the interweb. Y'all remember last year we had Todd Masterson on. He's a stand-up comedian. He's the genius behind Gay Fat Friend.
Yes, I love him.
David chatted with us about his Instagram account, pointing out the comedy of a certain kind of white gay. Where is the... Oh, there it is. So I saw this from Todd on Instagram. He posted that a gay local news anchor in DC tweeted this tweet. I'm annoyed obese people of all ages get priority access before all essential workers. When most stayed home, we went into work every day last March, April, May, and every day since, putting ourselves and loved ones at risk. Vaccinate all essential workers, then obese. They just volunteered, just shared this out on the internet, just the random thought he was having. And of course, as you can imagine, he was sort of obliterated for it. He was called out, he deleted it. Then he tweeted a very perfunctory apology after saying he didn't have time to argue with strangers on the internet. Some people did deep dives. It seemed he traveled quite a bit last year. Hawaii, California, West Virginia, New York. Was broadcasting from home at the start of the pandemic, and TV news anchors are not considered essential workers in DC, in Washington, D.C., where he works. He's been suspended from his job pending further review. I don't really want to obsess on him so much as talk about what made him feel like this was something he could say, right? The blanket assumptions that exist in wider culture, but certainly are significantly talked about and focused on within the gay male community. this idea that you know something about obese people based on looking at them. Whereas like, I'm a skinny person and you can't tell from looking at me that I haven't been to the gym in a year, but someone like him would make a judgment between a fat person standing next to me and me with no knowledge, no information whatsoever. Because to get all the way to like essential workers, then obese. First of all, there are fat essential workers. There are fat people that work in all kinds of industries. You know what I mean? Like the mindset here. Y'all have thoughts?
Yeah, I read that. I saw the people were really calling him out, and because he had Instagram where he was traveling, and because I guess the big trigger was while we stayed at home, and then it just showed all of this travel that he did.
Well, like at every level, like apparently he was working at home from the beginning. But to me, the goal of being able to say, like regardless of what medical professionals have decided about the order of vaccines, that he has an opinion that gives less value to fat people. Like it's a value judgment based on incorrect assumptions. You know, the number of fat people that are healthier than I am, could run longer, are more flexible. We still make assumptions, and it's so prevalent in our community. And it just seemed the privilege sort of being like a hot white gay to be able to be like fat people to the back.
Yeah. It's
anybody else?
Anybody have any thoughts on that?
Bill Maher keeps hitting us with fat jokes too. You know, it's like I always think about, for most of us in our community, at some point there was pain associated with our identity. And then we turn around and do that to other people. You know, it's one thing when like some moron straight guy whose life was easy strolled through life but to think that to not be aware of the pain you would cause with that kind of like painting with a broad brush value judgment. Marshall said, it's kind of grade school to talk about looks. Come on, fat shaming, gay shaming, all that stuff should be left in grade school play yard, grow up. I just can't get over that. Like he thinks you can rearrange the order of what medical professionals have decided or happened for whatever reason they say, you know, right. It's just like old people, they're close to dying. It's like what they was said in Texas last year. Sorry about grandma, but we want to live our lives. Rob, being overweight has caused my life to suffer a lot in life. And also the myriad reasons people are overweight or fat, you know, whether it's choice, health, thyroid conditions, you know.
That's right.
The 1B vaccine category isn't just weight. You had to have other health concerns as well. And even then it's after essential workers, as it should be. Yeah, it also seemed like he was incorrect in the Todd, I'm fat as 3 hogs and I haven't got my vaccination yet. They're like, but I just can't imagine talking about other people.
I just, as 3 hogs?
Not 2. Todd, to clarify, 3. You know, it's also the idea, you know, it's like what I love about Todd Masterson, about fat people that I know, that like the word fat is not inherently bad for lots of people who are, right? It's when it's slung as an insult. You know, I love Todd being gay fat friend. I'm fat. I don't have a problem with that.
Well,
know?
And he's turned it into comedic gold. I mean, I go and just, if I want to get in a good mood, I just go to his Instagram and look at those pictures. I am obsessed.
Yeah. Nikki said, as a person of color who has been every size in the book, it's an obvious way to passive aggressively fat shame, another form of bigotry.
Yes.
And you know, and beauty standards, and like we've definitely talked a lot about that with different people. You know, the myriad ways in which our culture is geared towards a particular beauty standard, but then to just be like, then obese. Although I think it was Todd, or maybe it was Sadie Pines, my friend who's the drag queen, who said they wanted T-shirts that said then obese. and I appreciate people that can laugh at something like that, but the point of all this is that you shouldn't have to, right? You shouldn't have to find a way to laugh at someone else devaluing your literal existence. Some of the most judged people I've ever met are marginalized minorities, gay, Hispanic, people of color, women. I mean, I look at my own. I definitely went through the phase of like being mean to protect myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like we often do that.
Right.
Art said, don't be hog shaming. No shame here, Jared. I've struggled with weight all my life. And for a lot of fat people, it's a mental health issue. A lot of us self-medicate with food. And there's myriad reasons, right? Rob, I used to weigh 513 pounds, now 329. Being overweight, a gay, is look bad in the gay community. And Matt, gay white male privilege at its finest, you know, and it really does boil down to that. Like those of us gay white cis men who within our community do often to the rest of the community what the wider world does to the LGBTQ community. And Eric, I'm overweight and I also have leukemia. I have to wait till seniors, frontline, and teachers go first. Mm-hmm. So yeah, there's compounding issues, but it's just, I mean, it's just the grossness of it. That's sort of
hopefully it will, this March, we will just see a big uptick in vaccines. We just got the Johnson & Johnson approved today, and lots of hope in the manufacturing, and it's shot up since this administration has come into play. So we're getting there, y'all. Hang tight.
With you. Did someone say biscuits and gravy? I got to get off here and fix dinner now.
I just said, Art, I want you to know I'm not hog shaming. I just put out bacon so I could remember to put it in my green beans tonight.
Yeah.
So, but my all right. Well, let's have a little come and go update. Twitch streamer Justin Moore, we talked about the other day, where he had the Come and Gay Rights partnership with Come and Go. My T-shirt has not arrived yet.
Well, I don't think I don't get anything that fast right now.
I know, but I paid that FedEx extra.
That's right, $12.
It was $12. It should be here. He raised $26,930 in 7 days for the Trevor Project. That's 2,693 shirts or tank tops at a $10 donation per shirt. He tweeted, "Y'all, I'm legit crying. I cannot thank you enough for supporting this. Who knew a joke back in December would lead to all of this?" And how cool is that? He raised almost $27,000 for the Trevor Project.
I know. I'm like, he sold $2,600 shirts, and I get excited when we have $40 in tips. Speaking of tips, we've reached the halfway point of our show, and if you enjoy what we do here, the news or the nonsense, or hopefully both and the balance thereof, you can send us a tip on Venmo to @EmersonCollins or on PayPal to beardcollinshoresproductions@gmail.com. It is in the ticker below. And I kid, it's not obligated, it's not expected. We are grateful. Thank you to Xana, who already did today. It's really impressive. I love that he used his platform in this joke. I mean, that's really amazing. And also, y'all are all going to get a bunch of cute shirts.
Yes. I can't wait. I'm going to wear mine. The moment I get it, I'll wear it on the show. But it's not here yet.
Now we're going to wait every week just for the fun.
It's been a couple of weeks. It's been a couple of weeks, right?
Can anybody else from the watching here order one and order the regular speed? Because what I want to know is how much faster you get it than they do.
I know. They're $8.95. I spent extra, and I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to. It's sort of like getting lost today. Sometimes I'm just not, my head's all over the place.
My head's all. I understand. Look, you made it here. You got your shirt on the right way. I thought we're going to call that a win.
So is it on right?
Yeah, it looks good to me. I love that sweater.
Thank you.
All right. It's funny. I saw the story when the first bit of it happened and didn't bother to add it to the show, but I decided I would now. Meet that vegan teacher. Katie Karen Diekmeyer was a TikToker named That Vegan Teacher with 1.7 million followers. Now, a petition of over 20,000 signatures called to remove her for being racist, bigoted to people under 18, LGBTQ people, persons with disabilities, Black people, various religions, and more. She must have offended everyone. But the one I noticed, in a since deleted TikTok, a user commented, "Coming out as vegan is not as special as coming out as gay lesbian. I'm a lesbian myself. Vegan is a diet, not sexuality." I mean, that makes sense, right? Well, she made a whole video to respond saying, "You are absolutely wrong. Coming out as a vegan animal rights activist, as someone who cares beyond themselves, is much more special than it is to come out as a member of the LGBTQ community. Coming out as a member of the LGBTQ community is an entirely selfish act. It's talking about you only. It's not talking about the things you're going to do to better the world. Coming out as an animal rights activist is talking about the animals, others, not just you. In fact, it is a completely unselfish thing to do." Well, TikTok banned her. She uploaded a 20-minute rant about censorship to YouTube, and apparently a backup account called that Holocaust teacher, which she used to compare eating meat to the Holocaust, was also banned.
Bless her.
I mean, here's the thing. It's just the strangest thing to compare these two things at all, right? Like, what a weird thing to say. It's just a selfish thing to do. I mean, man, there's still far too many places in the world where coming out as LGBTQ is dangerous. So I don't think selfish is the word that you want to use to describe that dangerous and therefore brave act for many people. But to like make it about being selfish, you know, it's a little bit like making the animals more important than the people rather than equal, you know?
Well, I mean, she sounds like fun. Yes. I just like that she compared eating meat to the Holocaust. Like, why do people go there?
It is an aggressive extra. Look, we all know that like comparing anything to the Holocaust is fraught. It becomes there's danger of anti-Semitism. You know, it's fraught with so much history. But to escalate and elevate, I absolutely understand the passion, particularly vegan people have for the rights and treatment of animals on our planet. And I think that's really important conversations, but you're just not ever going to convince me that they're completely equal to people.
I keep forgetting it's vegetarian versus vegan because my daughter who's coming in is vegan, and I was saying, well, you can eat eggs. No, Dad, I cannot eat eggs unless you're going to have like raise them there and treat them nicely. And I thought, well, I guess I could get a couple of hens and put them on the patio. I have a feeling the dogs would bark a lot.
Oh, please do get you some hens.
And just put a little, just like white trash.
Yes, have some here. Out on that balcony, just cluck, cluck, clucking. Pick a little, talk a little. Cheap, talk a lot. Yep. Make a little more.
Well, I had a vision that Melissa next door would go, Dale, one of your chickens is over here in my yard again. It's flown over your balcony.
Yes. That French show that Blake and I become obsessed with, Escape to the Chateau, about this British couple that bought a 45-room chateau in the French countryside, and they've been redoing it for 5 years. They have like chickens and geese, and they wander around. And I'm like, oh, that'd be nice if you had the yard.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind having some chickens. My daddy always had chickens. It was a little bit, scary when he decided to wring their necks for dinner, but
I could skip that part. Xana said my scariest coming out was as a soap fan. I lose 100 friends on Facebook every time I mention all my children in one life to live. I mean, Xana, we all have our crosses to bear.
That's just awful. You bless your heart that you had to go through that. All right.
It's an hourglass. So
okay. Mayor Pete's back in the news on Late Night with Seth Meyers. I talked about his first Oval Office meeting via video and how excited Biden gets when talking about trains. He also said he proposed to Chasten at Chicago's O'Hare Airport. Now that's a good airport, I have to admit. You could, there's so many stores there. I got stuck there one Christmas. I went Christmas shopping. It's
like a whole city.
It's like a mall. It's like a mall.
Forever to get anywhere.
So he specifically proposed at Terminal B5.
Bingo.
He chose it because that's where Chasten was when they first connected on Hinge in 2015. When they went through on a vacation together in 2017, he says, I kind of guided him to that spot. I was like, why don't you show me that spot where you first were when we started chatting with each other? I invited him to look out the window, and then I got on one knee. I told him it would be a lot like being in the airport. Life with me would probably hard to steal private moments, but also full of adventure. And luckily he said yes. He said he also found an app. I found this so interesting to check when the gate would be quiet based on the planes that were coming and going.
I mean, if this doesn't describe a man meant to run trains across the country, like that he found an app to figure out when the gate would be sort of quiet for them to have a private moment. And also that he thought an airport proposed, like we met, if I was at an I'd be like, oh, I love that you remember that. You need to pick a better place.
You go, now where did you go after that?
Right.
Yeah.
Did you go on a plane, or did he have to buy plane tickets to get, because this isn't like when I was a kid and you could run up to the gate to watch everybody's plane go off.
That's
you have to get past security to get to gate B5. Did he buy plane tickets to? Oh no, it said in the story they were going on vacation.
Yeah, it said they were going on vacation. You
just let me run on like I already forgot what you.
Well, I just wanted to show everybody that I wasn't always the one that was just incorrect.
You weren't listening, and you caught it when I caught it. But I do. It's adorable, and so like the policy wonk who gets excited about the sewer system and trains, it just seemed exactly correct. But I love that Chasten remembered our first text was right there, because I can see the chair I was sitting at the commune the first time Blake liked a bunch of photos on my Instagram. I remember where I was sitting.
Oh, in that space.
I will not be proposing in that spot.
That's so sweet.
It was torn down. It was condemned.
It was, oh yes, yours. I drive by it all the time. It's gone. It's
gone. It wasn't condemned, but somebody did bought it. So that house no longer exists. That house that I live, I don't think we've ever talked about on the show. Well, so that's another day. It
was time, Emerson. It was time they tore that piece of shit house down.
That was hey, how you never went inside? You don't know.
I wasn't invited.
You weren't allowed. It was the rules of the house. You couldn't have guests past the threshold.
I picked you up many a time on that couch on the porch.
Yeah, you're like just sitting on the porch. All right. In other interesting news about our community, a new study was released. There's a new Gallup poll where they asked questions of 15,000 people. It has some new stats about our community makeup in the country. Now, LGBTQ people make up 5.6% of the population. That's up over 1.1 from the last time. You know that 1 in 10 figure people say all the time? That wasn't ever really based on like a really good study or anything. And over half identify as bisexual, 24.5% gay, 11.7% lesbian, 11.3% trans. So that means if you look at it in the larger American culture, 0.6% of Americans identify as trans, 0.7 as lesbian, 1.4 as gay, and 3.1 as bi. Now, 1 in 6 of Gen Z identify as something other than hetero, and of the Gen Z group, nearly 3/4 identify as bi. Only 1.7% of Republicans identify as LGBTQ. I liked that particular piece.
That's my favorite stat of the whole thing.
Yes. And what I found really interesting was that I think speaks to generational changes and visibility, right? That there's the largest percentage among Gen Z, which makes sense. It's become more normalized. There began to be this interesting conversation, weird, from like some gay people and then some ridiculous conservatives about why the growth, particularly among trans and bi people. There's this awful, if you've never encountered him, consider yourself lucky, but Matt Walsh is one of the big conservative commentariats. And he said the number of kids who identify as LGBT, especially trans and bisexual, has absolutely skyrocketed. If you think this is natural or organic development, you're deluded. The media, Hollywood, and the school system actively recruit children into the LGBT ranks. Now, obviously, that's nonsense. We all know it is. I think it's fascinating that it seems very obvious to me that the growth in understanding trans people and acceptance of trans people, visibility of trans people has made trans people more comfortable. Mm-hmm. And same thing with bi people, because it also said 1 in 10 bi-oriented people, only 1 in 10 bi-oriented people is in a same-sex relationship. That makes sense when we're less than 10% of the population, but more bi people in opposite sex relationships likely feel comfortable identifying as that, whereas historically they would have been like, it's not worth telling people since my relationship, it doesn't matter in public. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does make sense. Perfect.
John said recruit. I never got my toaster. Y'all, I'm sorry. I'm just not willing to work a shift recruiting.
I know it's so stupid, but I was thinking about this story, Emerson, because wasn't it when I did 6 characters, I said 4.8% in the latest study. So it has really gone up. That's a huge.
It is a notable growth.
Yeah.
And really important. And I do think it's so funny they think of it as recruiting, whereas Hollywood visibility, educational discussions just make our community and who we are and how we live and how we love seem normalized in our culture. So that young people feel more comfortable understanding themselves in that way and being able to put names to it. I've actually seen a lot of young people also that may have been bi in this study identifying as pan in order to say, like, I'm interested in and welcoming to everyone in my interest.
A lot of pan in the young. The young.
Would you work a shift out front of the, like, I don't know, Crate and Barrel at the Sunset Plaza
To recruit for gays? What, based on their walk? I mean,
I know. Like, how do we decide it? See,
like,
that'd be the problem.
Oh, you come over. Get over here. Get over here.
You would be the judgiest recruiter. Oh no, we don't want that one.
Not that one.
No, just let them go. You. Come here. Let me talk to you. Have you ever considered that the fact that your belt matches your socks ought to mean something?
I saw you staring at that woman's shoes.
Just rampant stereotyping.
Yes.
I could barely sell Boy Scout tickets as a kid. I certainly couldn't sell homosexuality to somebody that didn't want it.
No, ma'am. All right.
Danielle's pitch. You too can be cast out of your family, church, social circles, fired from your job. Come on over. Welcome. The water's
Yes. It's just a
with 6, you get egg rolls. Oh, y'all are entertaining me today.
And maybe it'd be like when you sell the world famous chocolates. The more you recruit, like you get these, you get like a TV.
Okay. Can I tell you, world famous chocolates, I never sold one. When I played on the baseball team, don't laugh, I would just bring the box of world's finest home, and I just ate them all and had to pay for it with my allowance.
Oh, wow.
I would eat the peanut butter cups like in 2 days, and then I would eat the chocolate with almonds next, and I would try to sell the plain chocolate to my brothers because I didn't like that one.
We did it for band, and I came in third one year, and I think I got a tape recorder.
That was the start of your reporter.
No, it wasn't even that good. It was those kind that, you had the cassette that flipped up. That's how I practiced my talk so that I wouldn't sound gay.
Of course you did.
And I recorded Casey Kasem and the top 40. All right. Well, David Pendery put up a pride flag in his Colorado subdivision. And they sent him a letter telling him it was against their rules, even though other houses in the neighborhood fly flags. So he flew the flag last year with a permit that expired in December. If he's in violation of the rules, the subdivision does have the power to impose fines, place a lien on his home for flying a fat flag. So he refused to get another permit and instead slapped him with a lawsuit. Said, I'm a gay man with a family here. What's wrong with flying a pride flag? I've never lived in a neighborhood where that was an issue before. The subdivision also didn't like a sign that he had up that read, in this house, we believe Black Lives Matter. Women's rights are human rights. No human is illegal. Science is real. Love is love. Kindness is everything. He said, we love the neighborhood. We love the makeup of it. Great mountain views. But it's incredibly disheartening that the governing body, whose primary responsibility is to protect residents' investments, instead choose to focus its limited resources on violating our rights to free speech.
Michael put it best. Homeowners associations are operated by Karens.
I so fucking agree. I had a little issue with mine in Palm Springs, and
a little.
Yeah, they got my mouth. Someday I'll tell that story publicly, but right now I just feel a little vulnerable.
It's a little soon. Wait until somebody dies off that board. But also just it's that they disapproved of the sign as well. It's like I could buy somebody thinking a rainbow is tacky, but when the sign says people aren't illegal and we think gay rights are human rights, and y'all don't like that either, it starts to tell me something else.
Well, there were probably some things they liked in that list, but there was probably some, blue lives matter. All lives matter. All that bullshit that we.
Right. Like they're not misogynist, but they are racist, but they're not homophobic, but they are transphobic. It's so hard. It's hard to get so I love that he was like, no, I'm not applying for another permit. We're suing your ass. Thanks. My neighborhood. I can just see him stomping down the driveway. It's Susan over on That's real.
I see him walking down the street waving that flag. Just two of them.
Look at me, I'm a flagget. All right, did y'all see this thing that happened yesterday? Everybody got all upset about Mr. Potato Head. Hasbro announced that they were going to release a gender-neutral Potato Head that will be part of a new play set in the fall so that kids can create families that reflect their own. A mom and a dad, 2 moms, 2 dads. I bet remember 3 dads and a baby? 3 dads if you want. Everybody got so upset. There was a big kerfuffle about Potato Head losing his title, the mister of it all. And then they had to come out in the afternoon and clarify that Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head aren't going anywhere. They will still be sold under the Potato Head brand. But y'all, like getting that deep on Mr. Potato Head and then he needed to call him Mr. What I remember from playing with Mr. Potato Head as a child is that it was entertaining for like 20 seconds while I put like the ear and the mouth hole and the lips on the top of the head. And you literally pulled open his butt and stuck things in it. This toy was for little gays. You stored his extra face pieces in his butt. I would just like to remind everyone.
That's true. You did. His butt was a storage area.
His butt got more action than most people's in the last year.
It was like gay men and drug addicts smuggling.
Drug mules.
They stuff those balloons of heroin. Don't you remember that story I told in one of my shows? That woman that stuffed all those balloons of heroin up her ass.
Be like, but I'm just thinking, I don't know that a paragon of masculinity is a potato that didn't come with a penis or a vagina. Anyway.
Oh, it was a vagina. She had stuffed him up her vagina, not her ass. I'm sorry.
The butt has been done as well. But that these people looked at little Timmy. They were like, Dylan, you cannot put the ear in the mouth hole. What if the neighbors see? Like,
but people they're losing their minds over stupid. I'm sure the 100,000 who claim to be 1 million moms, 100,006 I think was last time we counted. I bet they're all upset over the Mr. Potato Head.
Absolutely. Rick LeBlanc just said this, and I did not know that the original toy, you used your own vegetables. Like they just sent you the pieces and you had to provide the potato. Or you could use any other vegetable. I learned something new.
But that would be not a good toy for poor people who needed to eat potatoes.
Well, you got to save that one potato, eat it last.
And they say, because then Mama would have to dig out the little brown spots where you stuck the nose.
That's right. It's like you ruined it. Be like, no, stop using the potatoes. We're making French fries tonight. You can use that beet. Mr. Beet Head doesn't have the same ring to it.
No. So, all right. Well, we have the Golden Globes on Sunday night. I always love a good awards show. And they're hosted by Tina Fey and Amy Poehler. Satchel Lee, the daughter of director Spike Lee, will make history as the first out queer Golden Globes ambassador. She and her brother, Jackson, will assist with duties. And the Hollywood Foreign Press will donate $25,000 on her behalf to Kalen Lord, a New York-based organization helping the queer community with health care. Satchel said, I chose Kalen Lord because I am a New Yorker. I wanted to do something that was around healthcare, and I wanted to do something centering around the queer community. Kalen Lord does amazing work. They provide full comprehensive health care to over 18,000 patients a year, and that's done regardless of their ability to pay. So good going, Satchel Lee.
I know. I love that. And I mean, not surprising given who her father is that she would be socially conscious and focus on organizations. But I love that she's the first out one ever.
Yes.
Are you is everybody excited for the Globes?
I am. I guess I need to look at. I always look at my movies that I haven't watched and go, "Oh, I better watch this one because it's nominated." And there's so many dark ones that you haven't watched.
Nope, I'm just skipping right on past.
So,
like, you know what? I will probably watch the Cliff Notes afterwards. I do love Amy Poehler and Tina Fey, and if anybody can figure out a way to find some new humor in the world of virtual pandemic life, the two of them certainly can. Anything else?
I believe it is in person, right? They are going to, parcel some people around the room.
They are.
I think so. I think so.
Well, good luck.
I'm not.
Good luck at all that shit. One of your characters iconically said.
Who won a Golden Globe? The actress who played that character.
Yes.
Well,
you got to say her name now that you like.
Octavia Spencer said that as lasagna. In Blues
yes.
for Living.
Well, as we head into the weekend, tonight's Drag Race is the Corona episode, so it's a non-elimination behind the scenes episode. I'm very excited for the WandaVision finale. But before we get to that, at 5:30 Pacific, in half an hour, y'all, on my Instagram, Blake and I are going live with Ryan Haddad on Instagram. He has a new one-man show that we watched last night. It's being produced by Woolly Mammoth and I Am a Theater Companies. That is hysterically funny, insightful, and incredibly thought-provoking. It's called Hi, Are You Single? And it's the journey of a gay man with a high sex drive and cerebral palsy on his search to find love or a date or at least a hookup. You can get tickets at www.woollymammoth.net. But I'm not kidding. We watched it last night and it was so funny. And it's so honest and it's so like, he's not perfect in his own journey. And they shot it during the pandemic. Like they shot it in a theater. It's just masks at a few spaced out seats. It's just like the production company and the staff at the theater. So he has a few laughs and he's done it on tour for like 2 years. So like shooting it, it's like it's like if we did 6 characters and only had like 6 people there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really great. But to join my Instagram and come and chat and watch. He's going on dates with people as promotion for the show, and it ends on Sunday. So these are the last few days to watch it. But so Blake and I will be his first couple to go on a date with.
Oh, so that's cute. That's
cute. Do you have fun? Anything fun besides teaching this weekend?
Caroline Shores is coming in. We got all guys. She's going wedding dress shopping, and I'm gonna get to FaceTime while she's doing that. It's going to be a very exciting weekend.
Is Rebecca going to run like the camera? Like, look, what do you think of this one?
I think so. I think that's the way it's going to be.
It's like the Shores episode.
Because of pandemic, only one person can go with her to try on dresses.
It's like the Shores online episode of Say Yes to the Dress.
Yes, there you go.
Y'all should save some of those videos. Please take us on the journey.
We should do Instagram Live or something.
You should do a little bit. Just let everybody say hi. I'm so glad. That's very exciting for her and for you and for y'all and everybody else.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. So, just hanging out and watching Drag Race tonight. I was looking forward to someone being eliminated since last week nobody was either.
I know. It's like they're usually 12 episode seasons and they gave them 16. And I think that was because knowing pandemic content. So that's part of why
they're dragging it out. I
see what you did there. That's hilarious. But it's funny when people complaining. I'm like, I don't want less of this TV show.
Oh, I don't either. I'm fine.
Well, we've come to the end of our show, y'all. We do appreciate those of you that tip. Arthur Jackson, for your generous contribution. Xana, if you want to send us a tip, you can do that on Venmo at Emerson Collins or on PayPal to beardcollinshoresproductions@gmail.com.
There was a story I was thinking of, Emerson. No.
Yes, tell it.
No, I'm kidding. I always do that at the end of the show and you chastise me.
Hey, wait, y'all. The beginning of the show, the middle of the show, it doesn't matter. I think, we're right on time and I'll just wrap this up. And then you go, and like, nope, there it goes. 3 more minutes.
Well, I appreciated that you have let us talk a little more instead of just jamming 450 stories in each show.
What you say, I received that compliment. You're welcome.
Thank you all for joining us today. This has been fun and y'all have a beautiful, beautiful weekend.
Truly, be kind to yourselves, be kind to each other. Rob said, bake something in that Easy Bake oven. You still haven't.
Oh, I need to do that, Rob. You're right. I have it. It's sitting in the other room right now on my table.
Promises. Have a delightful weekend, however you spend it, and we will see y'all on Tuesday.
Bye.
Bye-bye now.